Hello, welcome back to another episode from Pale Horse Survival and Tactical. I'm Bill, glad you could join me. In this episode, I'm going to be replacing the headliner in my 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited. This is the project that I was talking about in an earlier episode that I had picked up recently. And I mentioned that it's kind of sidelined me from getting up in the high country and bushcrafting. So this is what my project I've been working on for a while. But in this episode, we're gonna pull the headliner and gonna completely redo the headliner on it. So stay tuned. Okay, well, it's a bit of a project to get it out. But here's the headliner. I still have to remove all of this old material here, and then all of this foam backing needs to come off, and you can see how it's just disintegrated. I'm going to take a wire brush and spend some time where it's leaning up vertical like this, and comes right off. You can't apply a new headliner over this because it won't stick. It's going to come loose. You'll have a huge adhesion failure here. So with a wire brush, just prep this whole thing out, and the guy put thumbtacks on here. So I just need to yank all those thumbtacks all the way across the top edge. So that all needs to be cleaned up, and then once all of this is off, take a brush, a small brush, or even a corner broom, and then all this loose stuff, the dust, everything needs to come off in order for this to work properly. So it's a project. It's a definite project. Getting it out was a bit of a wrestling match. The vehicle is just full of trim everywhere. And now I've got another problem. The moonroof cover is a no-go. I'm not going to be able to get that out of there. I'm going to tell you why. This entire assembly here is a unit, and it contains the motor for the sunroof and the sunroof, and it's heavy. And the drain tubes look okay. They're not rotted. Let's bring you around here and give you some close-ups of this mess. And the vehicle's just full of trim and parts everywhere. I've used tape. When I took the screws out, I taped the screws into where they belong on various parts with electrical tape, and that way things kind of stay more or less organized here. Now, these are the drain tubes for the sunroof. They're still pliable, so I'm not going to replace the tubes. Now apparently this is like a bathtub design here. I'm not familiar with this design, so I'm kind of learning as I'm going here. But in order to get, the problem I'm running into is this. In order to get the moonroof, the sunroof cover out, I have to drop this entire assembly here. It's heavy. There's a lot of wires going to it, plus 4 drain tubes. Here's the front drain tubes up here. You can see they've got the original factory paint, and the rubber's still pliable. So, whoops, sorry guys. The rubber's still pliable. So I'm not going to replace these, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them loose and going to try and unplug these. I'm going to run some water through them, maybe with a pump. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that yet. I'll figure it out as I go. See if I can get all these unplugged, because I don't want a repeat of water backing up in here and ruining my new sunroof, my headliner that we're going to install. And there is the other drain tube over on, I don't know if it's washing out there or not. There, that's the other drain tube on this side. So this whole thing acts as a bathtub. The water goes in and then drains out, front and rear, and that's the other drain tube on the other side. It goes down the pillar. Okay, so the problem I have is I can't get this sunroof cover. There we go. Everything's been fighting me today. And I've already peeled. This is some of the old backing material here. It's all rotted. It's all got to come off. I can't get that out without dropping this entire assembly. It contains the sunroof, the glass. I don't want to get that involved in this thing. That's getting way deeper into this than I want to. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want to leave it looking like this with a new headliner. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of bummed out to run into this. I thought when I got the headliner out, I'd be able to pop this out a lot easier. Like I said, I'm not familiar with this design here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel all of this I'm assuming it's factory plastic, and I can't believe they put a headliner material over this stuff because it's all delaminating. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up the best I can, and what I'm going to do with that skull fabric, I will cut a piece of fabric that'll be about 1 inch wider than what I need. I'm going to brush contact. I don't want to spray contact adhesive inside the vehicle and have that stuff drifting everywhere in here, because the rig's actually clean. It's a really clean rig. So I'm going to brush. I'll pick up a small can at the hardware store of contact, high temperature contact cement adhesive, and I'll brush it on, and then I'm going to apply it to probably the fabric, one side of the fabric, allow both surfaces to tack, and then I'll just have to come in here and apply it, start it on one side and work it across and smooth it, and then I want to overlap it up over the edge here, and then I can trim that with a razor blade. That's about the best I can come up with on this project, so I think it will work okay. As far as the headliner goes, the headliner's pretty cut and dried, and we're going to get into that later. The cleanup and then the application, and that's really not that bad. The biggest problem with this whole deal is all this trim. Just pulling all of this stuff out of here, it's a project. I've got the visors and stuff, so like I said, I taped the screws into their places, so I'm a bit bummed out, guys. I really thought I was going to be able to pull this out and do a nice job on it, but it'll still be a nice job. It's just not quite the job I was hoping for, but it is what it is. So when I come back, we'll go ahead and do the cleanup over there and get into the application of the new headliner, and then once that cures, we'll ease that back inside here and get it secured back into its location. This needs to be done first though before the headliner gets in here, so stay tuned and bear with me. Boy, that was a pain in the butt. Oh, the came out okay. There's a few wrinkles. It was unavoidable. What happened was that the headliner adhesive started to shrink the fabric, started to crumple up, almost like rubberized or something, and I've never used the stuff on thin fabric like this. And it's hot out here, so maybe it was kicking off, but that was close. I almost lost it. But it started to crumple up and stick on itself, so I had to really work fast with it, but that's not too bad. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Now for the ebony black headliner, and once that's all put together, I think it'll look pretty good. This is the grab handle for the moonroof, and this is the stock color, so I wanted to match the top up there. I'm going to introduce you to the detailer's best friend. Good old Sharpie. Might have to put a couple coats on this. Just go and color it in. So I'm going to finish doing this and install it back where it belongs. Alright, so I'm getting ready to, I'm prepping this here, getting ready to apply the headliner. I've got a work surface set up right here, about waist height. So what I'm going to do first, if you look on here, you can see this loose dust. Now we've already scraped it, hit it with the wire brush, and it's almost like fleshing a hide. You want to take it down to where you see the fiberglass just starting to show. You don't want to keep grinding through that. You just use the fiberglass as your guide. And this is all the old foam backing from the old headliner, and that all has to, you don't want to try and apply the new headliner over that, because that's where a lot of people fail, and you get an adhesion failure and it'll just come loose. So I'm just hitting it with a rag, knocking this fine stuff off. So I started at the top and I'm working my way down. So after we're done with that, I'll get it on the work surface, and we'll start applying the adhesive and get that headliner on there. Oh, it's looking pretty good now. You can see how much. You can see how much of that loose stuff came off here. So this is a pretty clean surface now. And it's all ready to proceed to the next step. Stay tuned. For this application, I'm using Polymat 797. It's a professional headliner adhesive, contact adhesive. when we pull, do it half at a time. It's just like applying a big sheet of vinyl graphic. I was a graphics artist for a decade and a half, so this is a method for applying large pieces of graphic. But so we put down one half, take your time, all the low areas, the indentations. This fabric's pretty forgiving. It'll follow contours fairly well. You have to be careful for wrinkles. So we put half on, and I spent time in the low areas, the dips, rubbing those, because that's where your delamination will take place. There's more pressure on the fabric to lift there. So take your time. It's in the sun, so it's kicking off pretty fast, the adhesive. Pull the other half back over that. So what this acts is a shield, a mask. So when we blow adhesive onto this half, it's covered the A side of the piece that's already down, so it's going to protect it from getting glue all over it. Otherwise you'll run your headliner, you'll get glue on there and it's not going to come off. You'll either live with it or have to peel it all off and get another piece of headliner. So with that over it, it hides the A side underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same technique on this side and blow adhesive on everything and smooth this down. This will be the easy side here. It only has 2 indentations for the sun visors. Over there, there's pretty deep indentations for the grab handles on both sides, and I had to take a little time, got my thumb down in there and just followed the contour and kept rubbing them down to make sure they're going to stick and they're not going to lift on me. Pulling it back to make sure we're going to get, make sure I get adhesive back into this edge. Alright, so I went ahead and flipped this over and trimmed around the edge, leaving about an inch of overlap approximately. And this is where a lot of people fail. They cut it off even with the edge here. And when you have the headliner in there, say you're driving with the window down, the wind will beat the end of that and it'll start to delaminate. So if you flip it over, it prevents the edges from coming loose. And incidentally, I believe I documented this one delaminating on the edges, and that was factory work. So I don't know if it was somebody's first day there, or somebody wasn't being supervised properly, or what the deal is. But anyway, so we're going to do the edges, and then we're going to go through and we're going to cut all these areas here and leave overlaps on them. This one, same thing, and an overlap, and there's weather stripping that goes around here, and then there's for a dome light, grab handles, and these are the retaining holes back here, 2 push pins that go in. So I'll be ready to install this thing here pretty quick, and came out pretty good. We're rolling right along with it, so stay tuned. Alright, I've got all the little pieces cut out and overlapped on the inside. The perimeter's all overlapped, and I'll go ahead and flip this over rather, and we'll get a look at the A side. Alright, well there she be. I'm happy with it. Looks pretty doggone good. Next step will be feeding it back in from the rear and getting all that trim reinstalled. But you can see what a nice edge when you overlap this. It leaves. It makes such a nice, clean, real clean edge. That's going to look so nice up in there. Very professional. These are the areas you got to watch out for your low dips, but sitting here in the sun, it's kicked off pretty good. And these I had to work for a while, kept pushing them down, and they weren't really coming up, but I like to go over it pretty good. Alright, let's do this. Let's get it back in. Okay, I finally got this all reinstalled, and all of the trim detailed and back in its respective locations, and I'm real happy with it. It really came out nice. It's good, clean work. I really like the black and tan interior. And As I was discussing in the beginning, the factory had cut the material even with the headliner, edge of the headliner here, so when the windows were down, air blowing in will whip it and cause it to delaminate. So looping that over about an inch, this makes for a really clean professional edge here. Really looks nice. Really came out nice. You can see the edge up here too. It's not washing out from the backlight. But you can see that. It's nice clean edge. Here's the front by the windshield. It's kind of backlit, but it's nice solid edge, that overlap. Looks really nice. Finally got that project behind me, and it's getting there. I'm hoping to have this thing wrapped up by the end of the month. Next episode I shoot is going to be tuning up the transmission, so anybody who's interested in that, stay tuned. That'll be probably a couple of weeks out, I'm thinking, before I get another stab at an opening in my schedule. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to tighten the bands, changing the filter, the governor pressure, solenoid, governor pressure sensor, the 3/4 accumulator spring, and also the shift shaft is leaking, so that's going to be interesting. I'm going to do that without removing the valve body, so there's a special extractor tool, and I've got an idea how I'm going to do that, so stay tuned on that. But if anybody has any questions on headliners, hit me up down below, or you can email me direct at palehorsesurvival@yahoo.com. I'm always happy to help out and provide some advice if it's needed. So I hope all of you enjoyed this episode as much as I did making it today. Please like, subscribe, and share. I hope all of you are having an outstanding day or night, depending on where you're located, and I appreciate your viewership. Everybody take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.